So we're here to solve this Tapa puzzle 3 edges by Eric Fox. You'll see on the left side as well as the right side where we've got 3s on the edge. There are 5 cells they can take. The middle one's always shaded. A more key space though to actually get started I think is looking into the interior grid. A 7 is a very large clue and is next to a 2, which is a pretty small clue, and so these 3 cells are key. Only 2 of them can be taken by the Tapa, which means that the remaining 5 that are needed for the 7 to complete must be above. That also means that these below the 2 aren't used. The center cell is always taken, and then this left or right are taken for this clue, but having marked in these cells around the 7, as well as the starting requirement for this 3 on the edge, taking the center cell, we see for sure that it actually comes down and takes these. The no 2 by 2 rule puts in these shaded pieces. We've got to get a 4 around this 1, 4 group, and it's never going to use this cell, so it's going to start from here and come around, or start from here and come around. But when we look at this 2, 2 clue, it now is a case that it can take as many as 2 cells, but has to take a 4th up here. And in marking that, just as on the far left, we actually see on this 3 edge that we've again forced the 3 down based on a no 2 by 2 rule. That marks off this cell, which puts in the force shading for the 4. The 2 by 2 doesn't let you come into this cell, so we have to take the single cell we can over here. These 2 shaded squares mean that we can't reach all the way to this square with the 3 around. You'd make a 2 by 2, so marking that unused marks these as needed around the 3, and with the remaining cells around this 2, 2, this is a cell that's always shaded. Means this cell here is not shaded, and in a 3, 3 you have a pattern where there are 2 directly opposite unshaded cells, so once we know it's unshaded we can mark those in. That starts to complete out this 2, 2, and it also will now communicate into this 3, 3. If we look to the left, one of these cells is what's unshaded, and so the other unshaded cell is going to be these partners, but these are always shaded, these are always shaded. We have this structure in the grid. What we can ask ourselves is how do we get connectivity through the center, and this 2, 2 is going to require us to come up this channel because we can't come out through the bottom, so this 3 always takes this cell. That marks this as unused. The 3 will need to continue extending up. That marks this in. And now for connectivity, we've got to come through here. So we've got some forcing based on connections, which are the ones we've marked. What we'll actually see now is that this 2, 2 has to itself get out, and the 4 is coming from above, so the 4 will always take this cell. Notice that if we marked in this and these unused, that we now can't get out from this corner of the grid, and so it's not the top cell of these that is the unused, it's the bottom one that's unused. So putting that in the grid, we see the sure 4, we see the sure 2, we've got only this 1 cell to take, this 3 has to come straight up, we still need to get connections, so this 3 has to come straight up, and we finish the puzzle. So it had a good key use of some different Tapa clues. The 7, 2 connection at the start is an easy feed in, but then feeding around that, how do we get a 1, 4, start to force the 3, start to force this 2, get to some connectivity, as well as some exclusion constraints around the 3, 3 patterns. So a lot of these steps may have looked easy for me, but if you're new to Tapa, please just watch the video again and think about some of the consequences around these clues, including how to keep some of the separations that are needed there. We'll see you again soon.